Mm. Oh, hey, okay. We're trying this again. We were having some technical difficulties before, but if you're hanging out with us, thank you for coming and joining us. This is Dr. Karen, and I am the founder and executive director of Empowering People with Invisible Chronic Illness Foundation, otherwise known as the Epic Foundation. And we're back. It's been a while, but I'm here with Darryl Brown, one of the members of our executive board of directors. And in the past, we've done this series called Dates with Darryl, where we've talked candidly about living with invisible and visible, some visible chronic illnesses. So we're here to have another conversation, and
Yes,
I'm glad
looking
you
forward.
guys could join us. It's nice to see you, Darryl.
Nice to see you too.
First of all, I'm not going to try to embarrass you, but I do want to tell our viewers that someone celebrated a birthday uh, yesterday.
I
So,
am nowhere near embarrassed about that because doctors said I would not see 8, 9 years old,
that's right.
and I'm 56. So I
You said
am
what now? You say you 56?
I'm 56. So I'm not embarrassed by the fact that I'm still here, and regardless of what the age is. So
Yes,
I've even questioned myself sometimes. What is it gonna be like? Even if I we will even make it that far. And
I know.
honestly, yesterday it was rough. But
Yeah,
again, I'm not saying I don't have bad days. I
yeah,
just use different verbiage for it. Difficult days.
difficult
And
days.
so it was very difficult. But what made my wife and my mother-in-law got me out of the house. We went to the mall, and it gave me a chance to kind of take my mind off of what's going on.
Yeah,
And so that was a good thing. And so because again, one of the things that we all know, we cannot go through a chronic illness. You really can't go through life either. Living on an island,
right.
everybody needs somebody.
Yep.
So yes, and if I didn't know that before, I really learned it again yesterday because I was kind of going into that. I refuse to go to the dark place. I call it
Hmm.
gray because it's been kind of rough. But
Yeah,
we gotta keep fighting.
you
Got
got
to
to
keep
keep
fighting.
fighting.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Well, I
I'm
heard
I'm
that.
I'm glad I turned 56.
Well, I'm glad you turned 56 too. So I heard
Yes.
that when you say I'm not embarrassed at all
Oh,
by me putting you out there, I
no,
would
you can
love
tell
to
everybody.
celebrate you and just tell the world that we are just so grateful that you're here. And
Thank
birthdays were always a very special thing growing up in my
Yes.
household. That was the one day where everybody said, "Okay, let me just make you feel special today."
Yes. And it was the same way at
So
my house. It was the
yeah,
same way at my wife's house. So she went all out, and even though she knew I wasn't feeling the best, she still did her thing, and I appreciate that. I
yeah,
do.
that's
I appreciate.
wonderful. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. Well, there's this meme that says, I've shared a couple times, and it says, "Thank God I don't look the way I feel."
Yes,
Uh,
ma'am.
Another one says, "Thank God I don't look like what I've been through." So I want to tell you, you
And
look
that.
good. You looking good.
Thank you.
But
I just
we know the looks
refuse.
can be deceiving sometimes.
But I just refuse to look broken down.
Yeah,
Even though that's kind of how I feel right now, but I
yeah,
refuse to look like that. I'm not gonna give all this negative. They call it negative energy. I'm not doing all that. If I
yeah,
do it, it'll be for a second. Because it's I've had my negative moments, but you got to snap out of that stuff.
yeah.
You have to. If you want to make it to the next day, you got to have a reason to want to make it to the next day.
Right.
Because a lot of people don't make it to the next. They have no reason to. because they're
Yeah.
so overwhelmed at the time. I'm getting
Yeah.
ahead of myself by it.
No, I keep it coming because I needed to hear this today as well. I think we shared with each other that we have both been going through a little bit of a rough patch, and it's like that sometimes. We've talked about it in the past where you know um, optimism and positive thinking doesn't always produce the most optimal day. It changes your mind, but sometimes your
Yes,
body doesn't want to cooperate, and we definitely have those days. So
yes. I'm having
I
those
think what
days
you're talking
now.
about is so important. Yeah.
Right before we got on, my doctor's office called because I'm supposed to do another procedure tomorrow, and I told
Hmm.
her I can't wait to get there. But
Yeah.
yeah, you gotta it's up here. It's up there.
Yes.
So you
Yeah.
gotta keep in mind. I know I keep saying that over and over again to people, but it's true. You gotta get your mind right because once your mind convinces you there's no hope, there's you're trash, then now you have an issue. And
Yeah.
then you start going to that dark place. And a lot
Yeah.
of people go to that dark place and they never come out. That's
That's
why I
right.
think that during this time, you have a bunch of people committing suicide, just a whole lot of crazy stuff because
Yeah.
they're 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 actually beginning to get associated with a side of themselves they didn't know was there.
Hmm.
You know, because a lot of people are by themselves, and and even because somebody said to me the other day, they said, "Well, you got your wife." I don't know about you, but a lot of my years, even though I was surrounded by other people, I still felt alone
Hmm.
because I felt like nobody else was dealing with what I'm dealing with.
Right.
And I was always around people, but even though I was around people, I still felt the same. I always felt like, woe is me.
Yeah.
So you can have people who, during this pandemic and even prior to, be around a lot of people, but then when they go home and close the doors and they have to have a conversation with themselves, and it's only them in the room, you know, sometimes people don't make it through those periods. And so that's what I
Yeah.
say. You have to have a state of mind that no matter what it is, you gotta push it through. And it's been like this for me. Again, 56 years. I found out going to the doctor the other day. I never really thought about this until Friday when he was kind of going over some stuff. I actually was born with three disabilities.
Hmm.
Three. And it never hit me. I have three different disabilities on top of all this other foolishness that life brings. And I just kind of thought about that and just was very thankful that I didn't allow all three of them to consume me. Because even the other day when I went to the doctor, it wasn't the best news in the world.
Yeah.
But because you got to stay in that mindset, I didn't walk away crying and stuff. It's just, well, we're going to figure this out a different way.
Hmm.
But, as I told him, I'm getting off these crutches. And then he said, well, we can get you to a cane possibly. No, I want to get to nothing. I wear braces. That's what I've always been able to use. And that's what I want to use. Now, again, it's a possibility that might not happen, but that's where
Hmm.
my focus is.
Yeah.
You know, you got to give
Yeah.
doctors something to work with.
Yeah.
You got to give them something to work with. You got to be positive, because you'll go in the same direction they're going in. And so, you know, but anyway, that was my
Yeah.
little feel for the day. I guess
So
it was on my.
you talking about vision. That's the word I keep hearing, vision. Having the vision despite whatever circumstance you're in. You see
Mhm.
yourself not using the cane. You see yourself not using the crutches, and that's where your mind is.
Yes, yes. And again, it doesn't mean that I'm belittling the actual usage of those things. Because a lot of people need canes, they need wheelchairs, they need a lot of
Right.
that stuff. Um, but it is just, as you said, my vision, um, to see myself back to at least where I used to be.
That's right.
And so that's why again it's so important to have a wellness team that has the same vision that you do.
Right.
And some of them may not even have that vision at first. Again, I have an orthopedist who, when I first saw him, we can't do a knee replacement. We can't do surgery or anything. And the next thing I know, a couple of years later, we're doing a uh, a surgery.
Hmm.
And then about a year after that, now he's talking about knee replacements. But it was all based on my attitude,
Hmm.
because I gave him the impression, and I told him, I'm not giving up. And so, along with your vision, people will catch on. And if they
Right.
don't, you can find somebody that does. But I'm not saying you don't, I'm not also saying don't be realistic.
Right.
I'm not saying that, because a lot of people, again, they're not realistic about stuff.
Hmm.
I just believe as long as you try to put forth the effort,
Hmm.
that's all that counts. You may not get to the end of the yellow brick road, but at least you put the effort in to try to get there.
Right.
We all not gonna see the wizard. We all not gonna see the wizard. But even still, again, it's a mindset. Everything else goes right back to the mind, because you got to be able to see it on the inside first.
Hmm.
There is a truck that I want. It's a very expensive truck, and every time I see a commercial, I say out loud, I want that.
Hmm.
Now, along with that, I'm trying to put things aside where we will be able to afford it.
Right.
But yeah, but I had to get a vision for it first before we
That's
can
right.
go anything.
Yeah.
Vision is very important. You got to be
That's
able to
right.
see
Yeah.
it. Again, I think I told you I did a sermon a while back. Say it until you see it. Say it until you see it.
Hmm.
Even when you're having struggles. It's like this truck. I really can't see it, but I'm gonna keep saying it
Hmm.
until
Yeah.
and so and when I buy it, I'm gonna let you know when I get it. When I get it, it's not gonna be a struggle on the pocketbook, because along
Hmm.
with seeing and saying, I prepared myself
Yeah.
physically, but financially, I prepared myself.
Yes.
So yeah, I think a lot of the times we leave things out of the process. We just want it, and then we do nothing to prepare ourselves to get it. And then when we get it, we don't want it because it's a burden to us.
Yeah.
Well, because you didn't prepare.
Yeah.
So yeah, you gotta have vision. Vision is very, very important.
Yes.
Yes. So
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. One thing that resonated with me is the idea that optimism and realism are not opposites.
they're not.
Sometimes people think that, if you're optimistic, that means that you can't be realistic. And so they are afraid to be optimistic or have vision because they're like, well, that's not my life. But you can,
Right.
like you said, you can be prepared. You prepare rather. You can equip yourself. you can live in realism. I mean, nobody's denying what's going on with us, but you can also have that vision and you can also hold on to optimism. Because
Yes.
where do we go without hope? you know, like you
You
said,
know,
in a
you
very
don't
dark
go
place.
anywhere without any
Yes,
hope. You're not gonna go
right,
anywhere because every situation is going to be hopeless.
right,
And again, why would you want to wake up tomorrow feeling hopeless? You got to have a reason to want to wake up. And again, I'm not saying that's void of your circumstances.
right.
That doesn't mean that. You could still be in your circumstances. But again, my thought is if it does not happen today, I'll look for it tomorrow. If it don't happen tomorrow, I'll look for it the very next day. But I'm not going to stop looking based on how I feel because just recently since we've been talking, my physical condition has gone in a complete and total opposite direction.
Hmm.
But I can't stay there. I can't stay there. I was moving around yesterday, and my mother-in-law, she said, "What'd you say?" And I said, "I was talking to myself." And
Mm,
sometimes you got to talk to yourself. Get up and move. You have to verbalize that
yeah.
because if you sit around, one of my because I saw an individual do this a long time ago as a child. I refuse to spend every day in the bed. I saw somebody do that. I gotta push. And thanks to you, you pushed me out of the bed this morning. And so you got like I said, you gotta stay active, but you cannot put yourself in a place where, like you just said, you're hopeless.
Hmm.
You gotta have like you said, you gotta have a vision. Where there is no vision, the people perish. So you gotta have a vision. And like I said, you could have a vision of a nice steak dinner. You got $5 in the bank and you can barely pay your bills. But as long as you have that steak dinner on your mind,
Hmm.
it pushes you to get closer to the dinner. You might have to start with just a chair, then you're gonna get a fork, then you'll get a spoon. It's stages. But we cannot allow ourselves to be disappointed when it does not happen all at the same time.
Right,
Process.
right.
Everything has a process. And
That's right.
sometimes people don't know how to handle stuff when they get it too fast,
Hmm.
you know? And so it's a process. But again, it starts with the mind and again, vision. You gotta have a vision. And you cannot
Yeah,
have a vision being hopeless.
right.
Because again, the other day when I went to the doctor, he didn't say anything that I was like, yes. I'm like, whoa. But I'm
Yeah,
like, we gotta make this happen though. We're on the
yeah,
same page. Make this happen. And if the procedure I do tomorrow doesn't work, we're gonna move on to something else. But we're gonna figure out how to do this.
yes,
So yeah. Not until you stop having a vision when you're gone. As long as you're here and your mind's working, you gotta have a vision. I like that. Thank you for sharing that.
yes. I loved, our conversation went in a different direction, but than what we anticipated. But I think it needed to go here. I think
Well, no,
that
what we can stick to it. We got
no, no,
time.
no. I mean, I really think that I really do believe that the people needed to hear about vision and never
Hmm.
giving up. I just really feel
Yeah.
like, there has to be a reason why we went there.
Hmm. Well, again, you have to, because there's so many things in life especially when you have chronic illnesses.
Yeah.
And there are some people who don't have anything physically wrong with them,
Right.
but chronically, they have the wrong attitude. And so, all because of something that may have happened in childhood or something that may have been said to them at one time, and
Mm-hmm.
it put them in a place where they couldn't see much further than what
Yes.
that bad report was.
Yes.
And so you lived out what it was they said you were. And that's why
Yes.
you have to, again, remind yourself,
Yes.
I am what God says I am, even with all of these issues.
Even
Because again, huh?
with all of it, yeah, every single last issue,
Yeah,
you're still who
all of it.
God says you
All of it.
are.
You
That's right.
right now, my back is not happy.
That's
But
right.
you know what? If I go around all day talking about my back hurt, this hurt, that hurt, I can't walk, who you're not providing yourself a good place for vision. Yes, it hurts, but the vision is, the goal here is, the mindset here is things will get better. And that's it. And so both you and I know you cannot always even listen to medical doctors, because if I'd listened to them, I would have jumped off a bridge. I'd have done something, kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I'm just being,
Yeah.
because
And you wouldn't even be here. You
yeah,
would
and
not
it would
be
be
here.
it's always gloom and doom. Like I said, I'm in therapy right now. It took me 20 some odd years to find a doctor that would allow me to go to therapy. The rest of
Hmm.
them always said the same thing. What's the point? There is no use. You're going to get worse.
Wow.
And for a long time, I lived in that place. And I was
Yeah.
like, no, 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 no. So again, I found someone who, even when I asked to go to therapy, I think he was kind of leery about that because he said, "You want to go to therapy?" I says, "Yeah." Let me give me an opportunity. Let me show you what
Hmm.
can happen. And I was on crutches. I had an issue with my left knee, my right knee. It was left knee that was inoperable. I could not stand on it at all. It was swollen, and I said, "I'm coming back into your office without crutches." And a couple of months later, I did, because I worked with people who had the same vision I did, same one. And I've been with that therapy group forever, forever. So, because we can't figure this thing out on our own. We just can't do it.
Right.
And
Right.
I
That's
haven't
a
been,
beautiful thing.
yeah, I didn't go to medical school. I'm not a therapist. You
Yeah.
know, there are some people who went to school for this stuff. So I believe with their knowledge and your fortitude, you mix those two together, to me, that equals success.
Yes.
Because they're not going to stop and you're not going to stop. So, yes, everybody needs to have hope,
Yes.
regardless of what's going on.
That's right. Yes.
Yes.
And the interesting thing about this, and I'm hoping that either next week or the week afterwards, when we resume this conversation, because it seems like it's coming around full circle. Because this is what's so amazing when you're led to speak about what needs to be spoken about, is that we have been dialoguing about how do you allow yourself to be vulnerable to the people in your life to let them know what you need, right? And so now we're talking
Mm-hmm.
about vision. And you said something. You said, have people in your circle, including your medical doctors, including people that you have other types of relationships with, who are on board with your vision.
Mm-hmm.
And what's so impactful for me and so profound about that sentiment is, yes, you allow yourself to be vulnerable with people in your life and express what you need. These people must be on board with your vision. They must have
Yes.
hope with you.
Yes.
And that is the open door that you need to allow yourself to be vulnerable to those people, to let them know what you need. Hey,
Yes.
I need a little bit more from you today because I'm having a challenging physical day. And those people are gonna be like, yeah, I'm there with you. I'm gonna help you, but I'm also gonna hope with you. I'm also gonna,
Yep.
see you off of those crutches. I'm also gonna see you walking. It's just amazing to me how this conversation has just come around full circle um, to that point.
Well, you gotta, again, I can only share what I learned through my experiences. And I think that we all go through things not to necessarily keep it to ourselves, but to share. I'm
That's
learning
right.
this. I'm learning this little late in life.
Yeah.
But you have to be able to let people know. Matter of fact, quick story. I have tons of them. I was getting some X-rays done about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and I walk into the room and the lady's crying, and I'm like, "Are you okay?" She says, "Yes, I was praying for you."
Mm,
And what I thought was interesting was, yeah, I'm there for X-rays, but I feel okay today. But it's the perception of others
yeah.
who see you struggling and they
Yeah.
think you're in a really bad way, when in
Yeah.
all actuality, I was just showing up to do some X-rays.
Yeah.
And so again, you gotta have, because I could have very well said, I mean, excuse me, I was doing okay, but I was doing okay for me.
Right.
That day, I wouldn't be doing okay for most people. But I'm
Right.
so used to this that I just push through and do what I have to do. And the one thing you want to have, again, when it comes to people being around you, you want people who can empathize with or have empathy for you, but
Yeah.
you don't want people that's going to feel sorry. You don't want
Hmm.
that. I don't need somebody around me crying all the time. I cry enough
Hmm.
myself, so we
Yeah.
both can't be crying.
Yeah.
If you're not gonna help each other, nobody's gonna get help if everybody's crying. So
Right.
somebody have to suck it up.
Right. Right.
You
Right.
know,
Right. Right.
I just thought that was really because I looked up like, "Are you all right?" And she didn't think I was all right, and I just
She
said,
was having a harder time than you were with it.
"Yeah," and I just said, "Oh
Um,
no, I'm fine," and that's going to be my story. That's it.
right.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. How you feeling? I'm feeling all right.
Right. Right.
And but I
Yes.
think there are people you can share your real, how you can tell some people how you feel, but you
Right.
can't tell
You cannot tell everybody. No.
everybody.
No.
You gonna have people you gonna have people have they gonna have you in the ground before you get there.
Yeah.
You know,
That is so true. That is
yeah,
so
they already
true.
had to. Yeah, they are already turning the dirt over just to make 6 feet so you can make it into the ground. And I'm like, no, 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 no.
Yes.
I'm just difficult, but
Yes.
we're gonna get through this.
That's right. Either that, Daryl, or they project sort of this victim mentality onto you, and they make you feel like you're acting like a victim because you're simply speaking the truth. Now,
Yes.
you're going to speak your truth, and you're going to speak it with vision, with hope. But sometimes people can't even handle the truth. They just want you to basically be in denial and not say anything about your story. But there's power in your story because, like you said, you've learned that it wasn't to keep to yourself.
Yeah.
It was to share with the world, to share with the people that are watching right now, the people who needed to hear it. I gotta tell you, I got a few comments that I'll read as we wrap up this conversation. That time goes by fast.
It
But
does.
somebody, a few people said a lot of great things. But somebody said, I needed to hear that today. I spent one day this week feeling really sorry for myself, but woe is me isn't going to help me or my situation or help me get better. And we want to encourage you, Karina. We want to encourage you to
Yes.
just take it one moment at a time, one step at a time, have vision. I have a vision board that spans across my wall. When I was completely bedridden, um, and we have a Cushing's warrior on here too. And the doctors gave me a bad report too, so I can relate to that. But I had words all over my wall: walk, run, play, things that like were unimaginable at that time. And
Yes.
you just focus on the vision. I didn't lie about my situation because the reality was
Yep.
I could not get out of the bed. But the truth is, your vision is just as powerful as your situation. It's more powerful than your situation.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
And those things, it gives you an objective. It gives you a
Yeah,
reason to want to wake up in the morning.
that's
I wasn't,
right.
you like you said, you got running on your wall. Well, I didn't run yesterday, but before I go to sleep, the last thing you will see sometimes is
Yes,
on your wall running, and you're gonna when
yes,
you go to sleep, that's gonna be in your head. And so when you
that's
wake up,
right.
I didn't run yesterday. I'm running tomorrow. I mean,
Right.
and I know we got to wrap up, but a quick one. I have not been able to get into the shower. And at first, I got depressed. Like, no, 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 no. So, what's plan B? There's a plan B. I sat on the edge of it and did what I had to do.
That's
But
right.
the objective was to get clean. I got clean. Was I able to do it the way I usually do it? Not today, but maybe tomorrow. And every time I
Yeah.
go in there and I can't, like today, I couldn't. I can't stand up long enough. I said, well, we're going to see what it looks like tomorrow. And if I can't do it tomorrow, but in my head, I see myself in the shower.
Yes.
I see myself. Just like you, although I like these, you got words everywhere. You gotta, everybody has to have an objective. If you don't have
Yeah.
an objective, you don't have a reason to wake up in the morning.
Yeah. Yes.
So, I'll be quiet because, I can talk about this all day.
I know we can. We can go on about this all day, but this was an amazing conversation. I would like to continue the conversation of vision and also circle back to again, because I think the people need to really hear this as well. The kinds of people we keep in our lives, the relationships, because we've been talking a lot about that, and
Yes.
you know, how to be vulnerable to those people in your life to let them know what you need. But what I'm reminded of today is it's the right kind of people that you got to keep in your circle in order to do that. So we're gonna pick that up next week or the week
All right.
after. We'll see what we do there, but
Well,
it'll be
that's a
fun.
good. I'm looking for. I was just commenting on somebody just yesterday, day for yesterday. They put on Facebook. They said you can't depend on people. I said, yeah, you can, but you got to know who you can depend on.
That's
You
it.
just can't depend on everybody, but there's
That's
somebody you can.
it.
And if you can't depend on somebody, you need to take a mirror. You got to look at the mirror. You got to look at the mirror. You know, is it a
What is
possibility?
that one song that says encourage yourself? You know that song
Yeah,
that says, yes. Speak
if
over yourself, encourage yourself.
yeah, but my thing is, is it because of you? Because I know some honorary handicapped people. They just mad at the world and nobody, no, you gotta be nice. You
Yeah,
gotta be nice. You gotta want people to want to help you,
yeah,
you know? So,
yeah. And we'll speak on that too because, I think we've all been here. We've talked about it. Being in a
been
bitter
there.
place, being in a bitter place, an angry place,
Yes.
where you do get sort of, what is the word? Like you start to feel like people don't care because the
Mm-hmm.
reality is that how many people have walked out of our lives, right? Because they just couldn't handle it.
And I say,
Whether
oh,
oh,
let them go.
right,
Don't regret it. Let them go. If they want to walk, let them walk. I used
let
to
them
always
go.
I'll provide you if I need to. I'll go and buy you some gym shoes so you can walk faster. How
Yeah,
about that?
right. What's that saying? Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. I
Yeah. If you need to leave, I understand.
You got to let them go. But,
Yeah.
when you're in that experience of loss, I think for a lot of people, it hurts hard. I think coming to the realization that, even when I was trying my best, started an organization, tried to take a negative and turn it into a positive, there were still people, loved ones, family, so-called friends who said, you know what, we just don't want to hear about it. We don't care. We don't want to hear about it. We're tired of it. Just keep your chronic illnesses to yourself. And they were ghosts. And it's not easy to not be bitter sometimes. But we're gonna
Oh
talk
yeah.
about that. We're
Yes.
gonna talk about that.
I've been there. I've been there too. So
Yes,
we can talk about that.
yes. We can
Yeah.
talk about this all day. So what do you think? You think next week or 2 weeks from now we can come back and have this conversation?
We can do this as often as you like.
All
I
right.
just
Well,
again
let's.
that I can we that you and I and the rest of the Epic team, we can help somebody kind of just get through their stuff
That's right.
a little bit better.
That's
Because
right.
it's one thing to live it is something to live with something that is chronic,
That's right.
ongoing,
That's right.
and
Ongoing.
so
Yeah.
so thank you, ma'am. Again,
Thank
thank
you.
you, good doctor.
Thank you. I will take that. I will take that. I feel very blessed. And I'm blessed that you have celebrated another year. And once again, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Uh, and we're just, I'm just elated that we can do this and do some good work together. So, and
Yes,
together
ma'am.
we are epic. We definitely are
Yes, ma'am.
epic together. So, Darryl, we will see you next week. Thank you to everyone who tuned in, and we'll talk real soon.
Alrighty. See you
All
later.
right.
Alrighty.
Bye.